You know, Ratatouille is one of our favorite Disney Pixar movies of all time, so we were slightly suspicious when they named the official cheese crawl of Epcot's International Food and Wine Festival Emile's Fromage Montage. Emile is Remy's brother. He's the one who can't taste the difference between food and trash. Seriously.
Spoiler alert, we think the Fromage Montage would have been far more successful had Remy selected the dishes instead of Emile.
That's not to say they were all bad. There were some winners and some decent options. But I'm sorry to say, the crawl is just a ploy to get you to buy a few dishes you most likely wouldn't, and in at least one case, shouldn't.
So join us as we review Emile selections to see which dishes are worth your time, money, and the hottest commodity of all at Food and Wine Festival, stomach space.
We're here to help you make the best selections possible to maximize all three.
Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video to let us know you want more content like this. Also, we'd love to hear what you think of these dishes in the comments below, and we're always happy to answer your questions to help you seek the magical too.
When you start Emile's Fromage Montage, be certain to pick up a Food and Wine Festival passport. You can find these free booklets at basically every food booth and most merchandise locations throughout the park.
On the last 2 pages of the booklet, you'll find the list of dishes included in the crawl, and the locations of each. There are 5 empty circles for the various vendor booths to stamp, signifying your purchase of the designated dish. Once you've completed the crawl, take your booklet to Shimmering Sips Mimosa Bar in order to receive the complimentary cheesecake and the final stamp in your book.
Outside of the festival dates, there's no time constraint on the crawl, which is especially nice for locals or those visiting for a longer duration. So if you decide to partake even after heeding our warnings on this one, just remember to bring your book and obtain a stamp with each purchase.
We began the cheese crawl at the Alps Marketplace outside of the Norway Pavilion, where we ordered the Warmraclette Swiss cheese with baby potatoes, cornichons, and baguette. I enjoyed watching them prepare the dish, and it made me even more excited to try it. I love cheese, and I'll admit I'm a sucker for the whole concept of thinly scraping slices of raclette off the wheel, dropping them onto the accompaniments, and watching them melt almost instantly. Sadly, this is where the positives of the dish ended. The cheese tasted decent, but it quickly became clumpy and almost rubbery. Worse though were the accompaniments. The potatoes were undercooked and underseasoned, and the bread was just a sliced, stale baguette. It wasn't toasted or warmed or anything. It was just meh.
Furthermore, the cheese is somewhat pungent, and all the bits of it left in the trash bins in the area warming up in the summer sun was off-putting.
To say the least, the whole area smelled like stinky old shoes. The dish itself had the potential to be good, but it was phoned in and not worth it. I almost wish I could compliment it by saying it was forgettable, but maybe in time this too shall pass.
Moving on, the next item on our crawl is the Schinken Nudeln found at the Germany booth. This baked noodle gratin casserole is a conglomerate of noodles, ham, and onion melded into a monolith of cheese. None of the individual flavors stood out though, making it fairly one note. It was good, just not great, and it didn't live up to the hype if you ask me.
My favorite part was the top layer, where the cheese was slightly singed, giving the dish more bite and additional flavor. But the noodles under the top layer were a bit limp. Plus, the whole thing was dense, making it sit heavy in the stomach, especially with the fairly substantial portion size.
I would have preferred if the Schinken Nudeln was creamier or contained more flavor highlights, such as bacon bits or a zestier cheese. We were bored about 2/3 of the way in. I get there are many people who really enjoy this dish though, and originating from Minnesota, land of 10,000 lakes and even more casseroles, this is an above average noodle casserole and could be right up your alley.
I'm glad we tried it, but neither of us feel the need to go back.
Next up, Emile led us to purchase the black pepper Boursin Souffle with fig marmalade at the Cheese Studio, hosted by Boursin Cheese. I was initially skeptical of this due to the shameless corporate sponsorship, but I'm so glad I tried it anyway. My first bite was just the souffle without the fig marmalade. It was warm, full of rich flavor, and I loved the contrasting crisp crust and soft body texture. It was a little dry though, and was clearly missing something. Thus, I spread the fig marmalade over the top of the souffle and then took my next bite. And then the next, and the next, until it was unfortunately gone. The marmalade not only relieved the dryness of the souffle, it was arguably the perfect complement. Just like Remy tried to explain to Emile in the movie, the marmalade's sweet zing was impeccably balanced by the savory cheese, and the flavors danced in my mouth. For me, this was not only the best dish of the whole Fromage Montage, it was also among the best of the entire Food and Wine Festival. I could have had another half dozen of these and still questioned if I should get just one more. Oh well, there were 2 more stamps to get before the free cheesecake.
Our 4th dish was the Pao de Queijo, found at the Brazil booth. This baked cheese roll had a lighter texture and feel as well, and it had a delicious, mildly zesty flavor. The exterior texture was more delicate on top, and modestly firm on the bottom, while the inside revealed a soft bite. Unfortunately, I suspect the 2 rolls we were served sat out a bit too long, as they didn't have that gooey, elastic texture characteristic of most Pao de Queijos. Still, the taste was excellent. We do think it could be elevated by incorporating the right dipping sauce, or perhaps using a sharper cheese to add more flavor. But overall, we really enjoyed it, and think it's definitely worth making a point to try it.
So, as humans, we sometimes make bad choices. Like, really poor decisions, in the pursuit of something free. Eating the Impossible Cottage Pie at Earth Eats felt that way to me. This dish is the food equivalent of socks with sandals, which I'm guilty of sometimes, or the movie Plan 9 from Outer Space, which is now playing at Hollywood Studios Sci-Fi Dining. That is to say, it was more than unfortunate. It was bad. The mush on top was bland, with a side of nauseating, but the rest of the Impossible Cottage Pie was just impossible to eat. I threw away the majority of it, chugged water to flush the trauma off my tongue, and stumbled away regretting my choice. Presumably, the cottage pie was included in the cheese crawl due to the vegan mozzarella found in the mashed cauliflower and white bean topping. I'm not against including a vegan cheese in principle, I just wish they would select a different dish and spare us all from this disaster. I hate to badmouth the dish so much, but it badmouthed me first. Emile, why did you pick this one?
To clarify, neither of us are vegan, but we try. Okay, admittedly, I'm more apt to try, but we've both tried a wide variety of vegan and vegetarian dishes. We don't have an inherent dislike of vegan food. In fact, my favorite tacos ever are vegan squash tacos from Fresh on Front in Toronto, Ontario. If you're ever there, they're a must try. This dish, however, you can and should skip.
As much as I regretted my choice to go for all 5 stamps, we now had the complete set and were off to Shimmering Sips Mimosa Bar to receive the bonus cheesecake. After handing the cast member our passport, we received a 6th stamp and our long-awaited prize.
A teeny tiny Rhode Island-sized cheesecake, complete with a white chocolate piece promoting the festival. Yay? No offense to Rhode Island, but really?
Sure, the cheesecake was good. It had a flavorful crust and light texture, but I suffered through the Impossible Cottage Pie, hoping for something a bit more substantial than a 2-bite snack. If your goal is to enjoy delicious cheesecake, you're much better off saving your limited stomach space, let alone time and money, and foregoing Emile's Fromage Montage. Instead, purchase the Cheesecake Trio, also at Shimmering Sips, the often lauded Maple Bourbon Cheesecake at the Cheese Studio, or my personal favorite, the passion fruit cheesecake served with toasted macadamia nuts at the nearby Hawaii booth. They're all so good.
All in all, with only 2 great dishes, 2 middling ones, 1 potential biohazard, and a Polly pocket-sized complimentary cheesecake, we found Emile's Fromage Montage to be a waste of our time and money. We think our fellow Disney fans would be better off selecting the dishes on the cheese crawl that pique your interest, and trying more of the many other tasty food options at Epcot's International Food and Wine Festival.
And we hope if the Fromage Montage crawls its way back to the festival next year, that Remy has time to assemble the menu.
Or maybe Colette. Heck, even linguine would be an improvement. No offense, Emile, we still love you, but we'll likely stay out of the rat race of your Fromage Montage if it returns. Sadly, we think you should probably too.
Have you tried these dishes? Did you crawl over the finish line? Or did you wisely get up and walk away? Please comment below with your feedback and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a thumbs up. We really appreciate it.
Until next time, remember to hug your loved ones, cherish the memories, and always continue seeking the magical.